Hi, and welcome.
I'm Z,
And I'm Keith.
and we're going to tell you about the movie that we just watched. But first, a little bit of a heads up.
Some of the movies we watch deal with heavy subject matters.
In order to talk about these emotionally delicate things and the heavy subject matters that we sometimes cover, we add humor and crude language to add some levity and to process our own trauma.
If that doesn't feel fun or safe for you, we completely understand. Please take care of yourself first and foremost.
And we spoil the end of pretty much every movie that we watch.
Now you know. On with the show.
Chucha? Chucha?
It's the future. Mm-hmm. Welcome. Hello.
Hey.
Hi.
This was a... What?
You.
Oh, this was a movie.
Prove it.
Wow.
I remember when we did Near Dark.
Yeah.
Which I think previously, I don't know if it was in the lobby or when we did the monthly preview, I referred to as After Dark, which is
Oh, yeah.
something
I think
we've
it was
done many
the preview.
times. Anyway, that she and this writer had this plan where like they were going to alternate
Oh, I
directing and writing duties,
yeah,
or
I
like
forgot about
co-write
that,
and then alternate directing duties.
Mm-hmm.
This seems to be one of those. But I think he never really. He directed a movie, Cohen and Tate, which he also wrote. But she doesn't get a credit on it. I don't know. I thought there was one
Yeah.
that they did where he was directed and she got a writing credit, but I could not find it.
Okay.
Anyway, Eric Red is the writer.
I see.
He wrote the screenplay for Body Parts.
Body parts. Have I seen that one?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. That's not one we did for the pod.
No.
Okay.
I think it's one of those where like somebody gets a donated limb, but it's from a killer, and so they have to.
Fuck yeah. I love things that have like a supernatural twist that they feel like they have to explain, and two, it gets explained very quickly.
Yeah.
And you're like, for not knowing what's going on, you sure do know what's going on real quick. You're like, well, what must be happening?
Oh, yeah, right.
You're like, what? Why do you?
No.
I got a hand
possible-
transplant from a serial killer, and now I'm having vision. So it's obviously the killer's, you're like, what? I don't.
Yeah, right.
Why do you? I mean, and it's always like, maybe if you got like a corneal transplant from one of the victims of the serial killer, you're now seeing images of what happened during there's like, I'm not saying it makes sense. It's just like, you're like, oh, okay. But they'll be like, I got a fucking like, what is it? What is that one with Jeff Goldblum that we did?
Oh, he directed it too. Goldblum.
Jeremy Sisto.
Yeah. Hideaway.
Yeah, Hideaway. Yeah, that one. Where he comes
gotta
back to life and...
Sensations.
Yes, we do have to do Sensations. That's a wild, wild one. This movie is enraging and... Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I liked it.
Yeah.
It was one that I was like, that wasn't bad. And then today I was like, that movie sucked. I absolutely fucking hate like Eugene Hunt that character. I fucking can't.
The character?
Yeah,
Or Ron
the
Silver?
character. Well, I don't enjoy Ron Silver, but I don't necessarily know that
Did
he
you see
always
that
plays
Korber auditioned or was up for that part?
who?
Jeff Kober,
Oh, Coburn. Yeah,
who declined because he did the first Power.
I know. I forgot about that, but yeah, I was like, oh my god.
I mean,
that's rad.
lucky for us.
I
I feel like
I don't. He would have been.
this
too
movie
good
would have
in
brought
this.
him down,
Right,
whereas he elevated the first Power.
Right. He would have been too good in this, and it would have been unfortunate.
Yeah.
You know, like this would have just.
I mean, it probably would not have affected his career all that much because they're basically the same kind of role.
This is going to sound shitty, and I don't mean it.
Here it goes. Here we are.
Stop.
Start the clock.
I don't mean it in a way. I don't mean anything against Jeff Coburn because if you listen to this show, you know we're a fan. I just don't know how, and it's not an actual like critique of his looks whatsoever, but I don't know that I would buy him as the role of like hot guy. Not because I don't think he's hot, but because I don't think he's conventionally what people would go for. And he looks like someone I would be attracted to.
I know what you mean, but there's so many people, like we talked about this with Noth, that like, how is he?
Right, but I'm not attracted to Chris Noth is what I'm saying.
No, I know.
But he's conventionally attractive in that he's very boring looking. I do not think Jeff Coburn is boring. I think he looks kind of scary and that's fun. But I don't think, I'm just saying, this is my personal opinion.
No, I'm in no way disagreeing with you. Except all I'm pointing out is that
I'm wrong?
Seems to be no real rhyme or reason to when men especially get a pass as far as their looks go.
Yeah. Well, I just don't think this movie would have been like, I don't think Ron Silver's like that attractive. Also, I don't get, he just looks like he's doing like his beard and mouth combo just make him look like he's doing that horrible like 1920s blackface stuff because his hair's so dark and his mouth is just like it's just too clean shaven.
Don't speak ill of the dead.
Sorry, Ron Silver.
This is what we said last night. Is he looks like
he's wearing prosthetics.
Yeah, kind of. He looks like when a Christian production tries a little bit harder to make Jesus look like he's from the Levant, but they still cast a white guy, you know? So it's basically brown face.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, he does look
they don't just get the beard off of from Spirit Halloween or whatever.
Right.
They go to a real prop shop or something, but or get it off of Amazon.
Yeah, it just there's something about I know it's shitty. I just like I don't know. This movie was hard for me. I think I would have been okay with it at the least because you get to see Clancy Brown's crack, and I never in a million years thought I would get that opportunity. But the fucking rape scene, I was like, absolutely no, absolutely not.
That was
it. Too far, too much, not interesting. Why'd you do that?
Completely unnecessary.
Graphic, though it doesn't show anything. It's very, like, the camera on her crotch as he's, like, slow motion spreading her. Bro, we didn't need that. Bro, Catherine, big a bro. We didn't need that. Okay? We didn't fucking need. That's where I was like, I can't. No. Boo!
I'm just a bigger bro.
It really completely turned me off for the whole thing. I was like, okay, it's not being critical at all of police shit.
Not really.
It's doing it's fucking Top Gun.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking
with a rape. It's not good.
So Showgirls. G.I. Jane, which is a movie
I've never seen G.I. Jane.
Oh, really? I just watched a film. No shit. That's why we're here. No, I watched a YouTube video the other day about it was about the production duo of Simpson and
Cooper, Molyneux, and Juarez. Sorry.
Pitts Lopez. And fromage. Fuck. Jerry Bruckheimer and the other dude, Simpson, and how they were responsible for many blockbusters of the 1980s,
Yeah.
including but not limited to Top Gun, Flashdance, the first two Beverly Hills Cops. There's another one in there that I forget. Cocktail.
Oh, fuck.
Which
think
even
I've
at the
actually
time,
seen
even at the
Cocktail.
time, I remember feeling like Cocktail and Days of Thunder. I'm like, especially since Tom Cruise is in the lead, I'm like, these are the same movie. They're
Right.
just different settings.
Right.
And that was at the time, and I was not that old.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes, they had this formula that, for some reason, they refer to as the high concept movie, which is hilarious. But
Sorry.
anyway, it was an interesting video about this formula and how Days of Thunder was their last big one and how it flopped and why. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I definitely have that sort of lens. I had that
Right.
lens going into this, which it definitely feels similar.
Yeah.
The writer Eric Red, he's got an earlier movie called The Hitcher.
Yeah. He said this was the Hitcher, but for women.
Yeah,
Did the main character get raped in that? Just curious. If
no, that's
the
how you know
man-
it's actually a different movie.
Yeah,
It's
that's
actually
that's how you know it's
like-
for a man.
That's how you know it's gender swapped.
Yeah, I really was like, okay, you got to talk about the movie before you start launching into how much you hated it because of the fucking. But I'm like, nah, I can't do it. I honestly, I don't know what happened. I was wrecked, and I don't know if you remember, I like sat up at one point during the movie, and I was just like sitting up because I was literally like, I'm gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna fucking fall asleep. And it wasn't that the movie was boring. It was annoying, but it wasn't boring.
Right.
But I was just like, I was so fucking tired. And
Yeah, so the plot is she's a new cop. She's a rookie. Her first day, you see this training. With our first scene is a training scenario, which you're not supposed to know is a training scenario.
right, she comes in,
But it's obvious.
Yeah, right.
She takes out the guy with the gun, but then, the woman there grabs the gun and she's dead.
So do you know the wife?
Uh-huh.
Do you remember the episode of SVU with Martin Short where he was like, "Best I ever had"?
Vaguely.
He was married to someone.
That was her? Nice. Reprising her role as wife. Anyway,
He couldn't get it up for her because she wasn't a child.
Right.
Martin Short.
Martin Short Eyes.
I love that. Fuck. We don't need a sound effects button. We provide all the sound effects needed. But
Boy.
again, when he's like, just to solidify, I guess because Martin Short's voice is different than the voice he was doing on the machine or whatever. And when they figure out it was him, like, he's like, he has to say out loud to Olivia Benson, "Best I ever had," or whatever. And I'm like, you don't need to do that. It's just such a ridiculous, like, callback just to show you it was actually him. Because I think that people would be like, I don't buy, or some, maybe that, I'm saying that's the only reason I can think that they would.
People aren't going to.
They're not going to know that
dots.
he did a voice, It was just so, oh my God. Anyway.
And then her first night on the job.
Yeah.
She ends up blowing away a dude doing a holdup, Tom Sizemore.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Yeah.
Everyone she shot in this movie is dead in real life.
Trying to think if she shot anybody else.
Ron Silver.
Yeah. Ron John Silver. Anywho, she blows away this guy.
She blows away this guy. I love it. Anyway, she goes with this
She takes a
guy.
human life in cold blood. She unloads her entire gun
Fucking
into
clip into this guy.
Sizemore,
Fucking amazing.
who, from our perspective, he really does have a gun.
Yeah, he has a gun.
And he is
drops
holding up
it.
the cashier.
And when he drops it at Ron Cadillac's feet or by his face, and she doesn't pick up the gun because she's stupid and a rookie.
And she has not learned from her mistakes in the
She
training.
hasn't learned anything. And so he picks it up. He picks up the gun, and
that makes him have that. It turns out that gun has schizophrenia that is contagious.
Yeah. Well, the gun has schizophrenia, and it also fucking somehow learned everything about her.
Yeah.
And so he knows, yeah.
Anyway, she gets disciplined, sort of.
Yeah, they're like, you went too far, which is not
That is
all.
maybe my favorite scene.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. It's one of the better.
Well, it's unrealistic.
All I'm talking about is performance-wise, the scene where she's getting chewed out by Kevin Dunn, and then Clancy Brown comes in telling a fucking dick joke.
I know, yeah.
And not even ignoring that she's there.
Yeah.
And then their back and forth is that classic, like,
Yeah.
good cop, bad cop, or
Yeah.
like, whatever. Like,
Stanley, she sews his dick on backwards.
I wonder what he's going to say to his wife.
Officer Turner, 24 hours on the force and she's already blown some poor slob's face off.
24 hours later, she's off the force.
Like, what's the fucking, it's like the Breakfast Club, like.
yeah. But it's also the
No, say it. I can't remember any of it, but I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I don't.
I see where I'm going with this. Do you want another? Yes.
Yeah, thank you. That's it. Yeah.
That's a slightly different.
It's slightly different, but it's basically
To me,
just
that's a specific genre that goes the. It's the same as in Heathers, where he's like, "Say you want like to suck big dicks. I love it so much," or whatever.
You like to suck big dicks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Paul Rudd has a scene like that in Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not the same. Anyway, but it's the, like the G-Men in Venture Brothers, the card holder, and do you know what I'm talking about?
I
The
need you to
agents,
say
the
more.
OSI agents who are just like Men in Black, basically.
Yeah.
And the way they talk. And they're like,
Oh, yeah.
hey, the way they talk.
The hand movements are really going to come through on the mic.
They don't have to come through on the mic. They have to come through to you.
You, the listener.
Tell me you know what I'm talking about, please.
One, I said, oh. But two, I don't exactly know how this translates to
The banter, the way,
the banter. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
the overlapping dialogue of like Clancy Brown and Kevin Dunn, and how like they're basically competing.
That happens in a different scene. That
Is that
happens
later?
when they're in the morgue
Yeah, okay.
going back and forth. Yeah, that's why I wasn't. Yeah,
You're right.
that
So
was great.
I guess it's anytime the three of them are together, it's a decent.
Ridiculous. Yeah. Kevin Dunn. And, like, there's a lot of, I will say this. I'm going to say this, and I am embarrassed. You were like, what the fuck? We don't need this. I was like panting when her and Clancy Brown were fucking. I was like, this is the hottest fucking shit I've ever seen in my life. Like, they're just
Also,
full on
straight
making
out
out.
straight out of Top Gun.
They're just like full on making out. and
There
I'm
is
like,
so much
"Ugh."
making out in this movie,
I'm gonna be honest,
and it's so noisy.
There's never enough making out in movies.
No, shut up.
I'm serious.
kidding.
Like, I think making out is so fucking
What?
hot. Yes, I'm
in
sorry.
movies.
Well, it depends on who it is. Like, there are people that I don't want to see. Clancy Brown and Jamie Lee Curtis. I want to see. I fucking absolutely. Yeah, I'm into it.
I don't want to see a hetero appearing.
That's
make out.
fine. That's fine. Plus, he was like, it was implied that he was giving oral, so that's also hot.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed.
Good. Well, I'm glad you liked it. I mean, it's quickly ruined because, well, she's still like, you know,
Good Lord.
when Clancy Brown gets up to quote unquote shower after his jizzing upper skirt or whatever, fucking Ron Silver, I won't say Ron Cadillac because I won't be it's not funny. Ron Silver just literally jumps out of the fucking, like, he shoots Clancy Brown with a towel.
Yeah, he's like hiding in the shower or something.
He towel shoots Clancy Brown, and it's so quiet she can't hear anything. She can't hear.
And
him
apparently
fall,
Clancy
and,
Brown makes zero sound.
Yeah, he
getting
goes,
shot.
And that's how you know he's shot. And
because he's such a man.
And then he just literally jumps out of the bathroom and lunges at her and just like it would be funny if it wasn't
what it is.
So fucking disgusting. Like,
yeah.
And it's like slow motion shit. It's none of it is necessary. It is terrible. And just why? Like, he literally jumps. He like, I don't even know how to say that. I want to like paint a picture of the absurdity of how it goes without being too graphic, and it's very hard.
Yeah.
But he literally jumps over the bed and the implication is that he just like slides into her and just starts humping her. I mean humping, like the animalistic, like grunting shit. I'm like, what is this? Like, if it wasn't awful, I would have been like, if it wasn't what it was, I would have been hysterically laughing because this was done. Yeah. There was no tact. There was no, like, you don't even feel sorry for her. Like, there's no, like, attempt to make you feel bad for her because you're just, like, almost like, I was like, wait, is this what I think it is?
Yeah,
because
right. I know.
I can't imagine it could be anything else, but what is going on? It was so overwhelming and just bad. And that's when I was like, ugh. And then she like is in the hospital, and that's the reason why I was like, oh, she really was, because they wouldn't put her in the hospital.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then she like beats up a cop to get his loose fitting uniform, and I'm like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
Oh my God. And that's when I was like, oh my God, I can't. It was just, that was too much. Like, so like after Ron Cadillac leaves the supermarket with the gun, he just like takes it home, and like, then she gets in trouble because they're like, there was no gun at the scene.
Right.
You unloaded your clip. You know, they're like, too much. They were like, you went crazy. It was your first night. You did too much. And she's like, I swear there was a gun.
Pushed pencils for a while.
Yeah. And they're like, okay, well, you don't get to do shit. And then they suspend her for like half a day.
Isn't that after she brings Silver in?
No. She doesn't bring Silver in until much later. Because they're dating.
After the shooting, she just gets desk duty, I thought.
They suspend. She's like, are you suspending me? And they're like, until further notice. And so then she just goes out with him because he like picks her up or something like that.
Yeah. We don't know it yet, but we recognize him.
Yeah.
But it's
unclear. We know who he is.
We don't know his intentions.
Right. So he's
she
like.
She doesn't know who he is.
Well, I think they have like. I can't remember when the first shooting happens that he does. I can't remember if that's before or after they like meet cute and in the rain. But
I think it's after.
He starts scratching, like he's scratching the bullets, and you don't really know what the fuck is going on. He's just like, acting like a fucking rat in a cage, just scratching bullets, You're like, okay, this makes sense. And then he hangs out with her or whatever. He like meet cutes her into a fucking, traffic jam. And then they go have champagne at a restaurant like you do. And that night, I think the shooting happens right before. Like it happens the night before. Yeah. So this is a thing that makes no sense. But sorry, this isn't a thing that makes no sense. Later on, when it happens, it makes no sense. So he just goes out and shoots someone, and like in the chest, and it shows him shooting them twice, I think, which they don't ever say that there's 2 bullets, and anyway, whatever, it's fine. So
everyone has revolvers also, and I don't feel like the bullet count adds up.
everyone has. They do,
even though they make a point of it. And that last shootout with him where he dies, spoiler.
Yeah.
I feel like his gun has infinite ammo.
Well, this is what I'm saying. They do. This is where it's confusing. They do a lot of, I have to reload my gun, but it's never like after the 5th bullet. It's just like there's a bunch of gunfire, and then randomly they'll be like, I have to reload my gun, and I'm like, okay, but
I only remember that one time where she reloads.
I think they've done it twice. I think they've done it I think they do it like twice. I don't remember what the first time was, but I know that they do it again. Okay. Anyway, whatever. So after she gets she's suspended, she goes out with Ron Cadillac. He takes her home. She goes to bed, and Internal Affairs wakes her up in the middle of the night at her door. I'm like, okay, they're not going to call her, whatever. Ugh. So she's like,
yeah, right.
I don't really. They're like, you need to come with us right now, and she's like, what? Why? And they're like, doesn't matter. Come with us. Mm-hmm. Okay. So they take her to the fucking morgue, and Clancy Brown and Kevin Dunn are back and forthing her forever. And they're just like, this person got shot, and the bullet casing or whatever, or the bullet, whatever, had your name scratched into it.
Wasn't so bold, it would be stupid. Wish all homicides were this easy. Give me an answer to this.
I have no idea.
Get an idea.
Get 2 ideas.
Think, Megan.
Hard.
Aren't there any other Megan Turners in New York?
Yeah, one. Megan Augusta Turner, 86 years old, lives in a nursing home in the Bronx. We're checking, but I'd say it's an exercise.
And I think she responds really well. Like, she's like, because her name's like Megan Turner. And she's like, what, am I the only person with that name in New York? And they're like, there's one other person. And she's like,
86
and they're like,
years old,
86 years old, and like, and she's like, okay, well, maybe there's someone else. She's like very much like, this doesn't make sense. They're like, it's got to be you. Like, it's all about you. What do you know? Like, they're very like obsessive. It's weird how much they're like, you have to know something.
I'm not sure there were a lot of Megans born in the early 1900s.
Right. But I'm just like, she's responding like, why do you think it's about me?
Yeah,
and
right.
they're like, why wouldn't we? And I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, their assumption that she is all about it and knows what's going on is like weird. And I feel like she's actually acting normal.
Right.
But then they're like, okay, well, we're going to make you a detective so that you can stay close to us, which doesn't make any fucking sense. And
yeah, why wouldn't you take her to a safe house or
right.
protective custody or something?
Yeah, it's very weird. So like there's another shooting that happens. And well, this is another thing. Like, she goes out with Ron again, Eugene Hunt. She goes out with him, and then she comes home, and Clancy Brown's in her house or in her apartment, and he's like, you don't have much food. He's like, you need to go shopping. And she's like, what the fuck? Why are you in my house? He's like, because I need to know where the fuck you are at all times. He's like, she was like, I was on a date with someone, and he was like, I know who you were on a date with because I looked into him, and she's like, okay. So I was like, okay, well, I was like, okay, I'm appreciative of that because we know he's a fucking psychopath at this point. But no one is doing the thing where they're like withholding information. She's just like, he's a stockbroker. Like, what the fuck is he?
I love how often that comes up too. Of like,
I know.
He trades commodities on the stock exchange.
Right. I'm like, what the fuck?
Like, as if that absolves him from anything. Like, that's not already a crime.
Well, yeah. But also it's like, I mean, I do understand, like, why would he just be going around? Like, it's very unlikely that someone is just going around randomly shooting people with my name scratched on it. Because as far as she knows, he hasn't met her until after the first killing.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense to her, So there's another shooting. And this is where I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? They're at the fucking crime scene.
Yeah.
Okay. And she's like, is it the same MO? And Clancy Brown goes, yep, down to the bullet casing or whatever. And he holds it up. Now, it's a clean bullet casing.
Mm-hmm.
No blood, nothing.
What's the casing? That's
No, I know. Right. Oh, it's the case. Wait. But then how come if they drag the bullet out of the guy?
I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I know what I'm talking about.
No, it doesn't make any. It's not making any sense because, like,
You're right.
why? How would they? Oh my god, it's nonsensical. It's nonsensical. Yeah, like the casing has her name scratched on it, but the guy,
I don't know
the
how
guy
guns
that's
work.
dead in the morgue has it on the bullet. Like, how is it on the bullet and the casing? Like, what? It just doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. Like, if the casing gets
Ejected.
left behind.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that that's how it works, but yeah, it's whatever. Like, it just, I'm like, what is this? This is nonsensical. Like, all of this doesn't make any fucking sense. So
They didn't have CSI yet.
right, but also I'm like, so you dug that out of him, like, because why would you be in the morgue if it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any fucking sense because they made it like if it's the casing. Anyway, I'm done. I have to stop because I'm gonna get really fucking pissed off. But it doesn't make any fucking sense. It's very
Dear Google,
stupid.
how do guns work?
Dear Google, how do make a bullet happen with
Please
words?
shoot me.
If I said, "Dear Google, how shoot me," they'd be like, "Please contact this number if you're having difficulties." That's my favorite thing. Whenever it's like, I've definitely gotten that. Like, I make a joke that's ill-timed, and then I get like a message. It's like, if you're having trouble, please contact someone. And I'm like, oh god. But it's always like, call this fucking number. And I don't know if you're aware of this, but if you have friends who are on the path of sewer slide and they're not happy, if you call one of those numbers, you don't get help. They can't give you they can't tell you anything. Like, you can't give anyone advice.
No.
You can't do anything for anyone. Basically, you're
can
there
listen.
to listen if they have something to say. But a lot of times they're busy and you don't.
Oh, they're often very busy.
Yeah, they're busy, so you don't get through. And they're like, even with like chatting, if you chat in and stuff like that, they're also very busy. And it's like, so if you're like at the point of no return and someone's like, call a hotline, it's not going to do anything for you. I'm so sorry. And so like, whenever people are like, call this hotline if you're really struggling, that's not helpful. I know that it's there's not a lot that you can do, but that's not helpful either. Call this hotline and wait 15 hours for someone to fucking answer. Like, it's the
same with like DV hotlines, like
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Because they can't tell you to do anything. They can't give you advice. They can
give you other resources that you may not
Exactly.
be able to access, like especially not in the moment. Anyway.
I mean, same with like when I came out to my like my GP, my or whatever, my PCP. PCP. It just she was like, "Oh, I'll have someone from like our like resources department contact you and give you all the information you need to know about like all the
Gay sex?
No, like the any trans sort of like healthcare." And they called me and they told me things that they just were like, "I don't know of anyone." I'm like,
Cool.
Thanks so much. That's super helpful.
Yeah.
That's really cool. They're like, "I don't know where you can get hormones. I don't know what surgeries you can get." I'm like, this is great. Thank you
This is the
so
opposite
much.
of,
So like, it's like so many people are like not helpful. They're like, "I'm going to change your pronouns on our computer." And I'm like, wow, that's so helpful. Thank you.
Probably
Thank you
no one
so much.
will read that, though.
No one does. I'll tell you this right now. No one gives a fuck. I'm called ma'am at the doctor. Doesn't matter who I'm seeing. There's like 3 people that were referred to me as like my actual, like my current primary care physician uses he pronouns with me. I don't think anyone else does. My gynecologist does, but I don't see him anymore because I don't have a vagina. So,
Sure about that?
no, there's just not, when you don't have a uterus, like there's not really, I mean, like I went to see him when I had my titty issues. And,
Tissues.
and
Tissues.
yeah, I had a mammogram, but that was like a year ago.
Ma'am?
Ma'am, did you get your O-gram? Anyway, remember that day? Remember how stressed out I was? And I was like freaking the fuck out, and I waited there for
Mammogram
like,
day?
yeah, I was like
Yeah.
a fucking hour. And then I went back there, and it was like nothing. That was fun. And they were like, yeah, you're fine. You just have boobs that are made of,
Coconut hair.
yeah, coconut core. I'm like, cool. Cool. Your beef jerky titties. You wouldn't know. They're perfectly round and they're gorgeous. But on the inside, it's just beef jerky, I guess. And so
Corn husks.
my tits are made out of a corn husk doll. You can find more information if you go to ztypics. Oh shit, what is it?
Co.uk.
.co.uk. I'm sorry.
You scroll down.
It's to a link tree. Or you can find out about Pornhub, how to spell SSBBW.
And also,
We'll explain.
what are Z tits made of?
I made an animated GIF to show you how.
Like some pumice.
Fuck.
Like some aquarium rocks. Used. Some beauty bark.
God.
Just like old pine needles.
Old.
Yeah.
They hurt so bad.
Yeah. How?
I know. Pine needles are so painful. You get that, I'm getting it right now just thinking about it, but you know how like they prick you and then your whole body tingles and you're like, oh, yeah. Wait, is that a thing? Is that a normal thing? Because I know
no
that
idea.
you have the tism too. So a lot of
I can't. So I
right.
Can't speak to
This
it.
is. It took Keith a while to admit it, but I'd be like, I have autism because this, and he'd be like, yeah, well, I do that too, and I'd be like,
And it was just crickets.
so look,
for
we
like,
need to have. One time he said, I do that too, and I said, and you were like, look, I don't want to hear it right now.
I'm not going down for this.
Anyway, yeah. So Ron Cadillac confesses sort of to her in a very roundabout way. I do kind of enjoy. I think it's enjoyable up until the R scene happens. How he just shows up everywhere. And she's like, cool, I'm going to arrest you. And then they're like, on what grounds?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, he said, and they're like, that's not, you don't have any proof,
What's interesting is you've seen this plot line a million times of like the predator
Yeah.
getting away with shit because they know how to work it.
Right.
And
Right.
and frame themselves as a victim. In fact, we saw some of it in Mother's Boys where she
Correct.
acts as though
Right.
what's her name has beat her up.
Right.
But it doesn't go super hard like
Yeah.
other movies do in that
Yeah,
regard, even though like all the worst things do happen,
Yeah.
like a sexual assault.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. And look, look, the best thing this movie has to offer some of the performances, but nobody really gets that much. I was thinking, I feel like Jamie Lee has probably as much dialogue in this movie as she did in Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God, the whole
lead.
fucking Elizabeth Pena shit.
Yeah, what?
Horrible.
Yeah.
Okay, here on this podcast, we love some Elizabeth Pena. We fucking love her. And if she's in something, we're like, fuck yeah, Elizabeth Pena. We're so stoked.
She gets refrigerated.
So stoked about her in this. She has like 2 scenes, one at the beginning, and one in the fucking middle to
Their fucking
last
barbecue
act.
or whatever. I love her only.
Oh yeah, the barbecue. Yeah, she's 3 scenes. But like she has like 3 lines of dialogue, and he fucking kills her.
Yeah.
And it's so enraging.
Yeah.
And
Also the only character of color, basically.
yeah. Except for her partner for 5 seconds at the beginning before she gets...
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm surprised he didn't get killed.
I know.
We
Thank God they didn't make the fucking robber.
Yeah.
I almost said gay.
We don't know. You can't tell by looking.
One time, the way you saying that reminded me. One time, it was when I worked at the theater and I was going to make change at the bank because like the theater banked at the bank that was across the parking lot from it, and I went to the bank to make change, and it was released that I was gay.
It was released.
Well, I don't remember how it came up. I don't know. I said something about being gay, or like I said something about having a girlfriend or something. And the two girl tellers that worked there were only 2 tellers, I think, in the entire bank. And they were like, "Oh my God, you're gay." They were like, "Holy shit, I never would have thought." And I made a status on Facebook, and I was like, "Turns out the girls at the bank couldn't tell I was gay just by looking at me." And then like a while later, like, because I would just go in there all the time. I was in there like a couple times a week. So we were friends. I would just like sit and chat with them for like an hour or whatever. You know, it was like how you do when you become friends with the
help.
Yeah. So we ended up being friends on Facebook, and I had forgotten about that status. And one of them was like, "LOL," and like tagged the other one. It was like, "This is hilarious," and I was like, "Oh my God!" They reacted very well to it. I was like, "Oh, I didn't know." I was like, "You went back pretty far. To get that." You sure about that? Anyway, how long have we been talking about
Like
this?
10 seconds, and I'm ready to be done talking about this movie because
Let's talk about it for 40 minutes. Would you recommend?
nah.
Me neither. I might have if the R scene didn't happen, but it's way too pro cop, and it's not good. If you want to see Clancy Brown and Jamie Lee Curtis doing a sex, then like, I don't know, you Google the scene on YouTube or something, and that's it.
The plot is like,
I liked Clancy Brown's performance. Okay, it's got Clancy Brown, it's got Richard Jenkins, it's got Elizabeth Pena.
Forgot about Jenkins.
Like, those are my
Fletcher.
Louise fucking Fletcher's in this. Like, people like I fucking love, and none of them
most of them are just
get
away.
shit. They're all like Louise Fletcher is a battered wife. She plays Jamie Lee Curtis's character's mom in the movie, and she's just like being beat up by her dad, and that's it. Like, and that's it. That's
my favorite
storyline.
about that little mini arc is that she's gonna take him to jail.
God, and he's like, "I'll never do it again." Ugh.
Yeah.
And then
did you see in the trivia that Philip Bosco plays the father of a policewoman in real life? He was the child of a policewoman.
My God, yeah, I love the trivia. The trivia on this is very boring.
Scant.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that we find out what kind of gun Megan Turner carries. The shots where it's her loading the gun, it's like internal.
Yeah.
Catherine Bigelow was inspired by the music video for Hip to Be Square by Huey Lewis, which uses the same kinds of cameras, which was cutting edge at the time.
Yeah.
Now it just looks like GoPro footage. You're not at all interested.
Yeah.
But, I guess
GoPro footage.
that's what the video looks like, the music video. Because it's like the camera's right here on the mic and he's like, or it's like at the end of a drumstick or whatever.
Yeah, oh God.
Yeah. You should not watch the video.
Yeah.
You will.
Yeah. I'll work. Yeah, I don't know. I was really
And you've seen
disappointed.
No, sorry.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I meant to say, I'm now saying that you've seen the plot retread a million times, and you've seen it
Better than this?
at least 10 years earlier
Right.
on any 80s cop series.
Right. Yeah.
Probably they did it on Miami Vice. Probably did it on Magnum,
Yeah.
Hunter, any
Yeah.
of those shits.
Yeah.
And probably earlier.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
It's just not a new...
And it's just really disappointing how much really it's just that one scene. And I know it's not a very long scene, which is good. You could probably skip through it if you really wanted to watch it. But it's just really disappointing that you have to do that to a female character in a movie like this, especially when it's like it's the female version of this movie. Like,
especially when it's a female director.
Yeah. And I'm
on.
just like, you don't, having to do that to a woman in order for you to like understand why that's so shitty. And it's like, I
It's
thought
so near the end too. Like
it is, right. But
it's like there's plenty of reason for, like, I think it's there, so it's okay that she actually murders him.
Well, right. That's what I was going to say. It makes me think of, so a while back, I have this like inkling and I really want to like write something. I don't really know exactly how I want to write it, or maybe make a video. I don't know. But just talking about the way that especially men or mainly men write women as needing to be raped or violated in some way. It doesn't necessarily have to be sexual assault, but it's like they're kidnapped, their agency gets taken away in order to give them permission
to
lash
be
out. Angry.
Yeah.
And that's a very it's such a common thing. You see it in Joss Whedon's, Joss Whedon does it a lot. Quentin Tarantino does it a lot. Like Kill Bill, great movie. You don't really need to know that the 5 years that she was in a coma, she was being repeatedly raped by random men you don't need to fucking know that. You don't need that. Like that's horrible.
Meanwhile,
you also don't need the implication that the same thing is like Death Proof is like a near perfect movie, except for they go hard on being like, I mean, for being a Quentin Tarantino, like it's like 3 women, who are like, a man is trying to victimize them and they don't let him. Love that. But the 4th girl that's with them, they leave her behind while they test drive the car as collateral. And it's the same character from Kill Bill who was the like guy who was raping
cool.
Uma Thurman's character while she was in the hospital. So you're supposed to...
Wait, which are the same characters?
The guy that has the car, how they like test drive a car.
Uh-huh.
The guy who owns the car that they're test driving is canonically the same character as the one from Kill Bill. So you're supposed to infer that they leave their friend behind and she is raped.
Cool.
That's supposed to be canonically what happens. Even though they don't show it, there's a scene where he walks up to her, like it ends with him walking up to her and being like, hey, and she like looks up and then it ends. And you're supposed to, guess what? Isn't that funny? So it's like, even if a movie doesn't actually have it in there, you're supposed to infer that it has it in there. Same with Pulp Fiction. I mean, like, granted, it's not a woman, but like Bruce Willis gets raped in that movie. You do not need to do that. It's done as like a funny thing.
And that's...
You don't need to do this shit.
Also, like when there's like revenge tales or whatever, like, and it's a male protagonist.
Yes.
Well, first of all, you can have, by this point, how many movies have we? I mean, the whole genre of like slashers and like before that Italian giallos is all just a man going around murdering women.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm not saying that's not a common occurrence, but
Right.
he doesn't have to have a motive, right?
Correct.
I mean, he's just crazy, or he's dangerous, or he's disturbed, right?
Right.
Okay, but, or, like a killer kills someone close to a man, and so he goes and gets revenge, right?
Right. A lot of times, this is something that's also used and really frustrating is a man is allowed to be angry and get retribution
Yeah.
when his partner is raped.
Yeah.
And
right.
you're like, that,
Right.
no. And
She's-
I'm not saying,
she's not.
I'm not saying that you shouldn't allow like a male character, or you shouldn't show that a man can have feelings about that or be angry or be upset.
Right.
That's totally fine. But that shouldn't be his means for like, oh, I can seek revenge because my partner was. No, you don't need to do that. And it's like,
Yeah.
that is not just a tool. Like, it's not like when it's a woman seeking revenge, it's not that her husband or her partner was like, raped or
Mm-hmm.
assaulted. It's that she was. But where a man, his partner gets that.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's like, it's always the woman that suffers in order for revenge to be enacted. And that's like such a disgusting. And I'm not saying like, it's like, sometimes they do the thing where it's like, oh, this person killed my family. And it can be it's interchangeable between a man or a woman. Like they don't do a lot. And that's fine. I don't mind that so much, but it's like most of the time when you see like especially a female character, it's like she has to lose body autonomy in order to be allowed to
Right.
seek revenge. But for a man, all he has to do is
Be insulted, disrespected.
I mean, this is
Well, in
I
some ways,
think-
it feels
well,
to me
I'm
like.
gonna I just want to say this. Sorry, like John Wick gets heralded as like such a great movie, and I think it's a fun movie. I think it's really great. It's basically a man whose wife dies, and they come and kill his puppy, and then he goes crazy. Fine, it's very reasonable. You kill a man's puppy, and it's an actual fucking puppy. It's a puppy, not like that's not. I'm not using just like a cute little name for
No, I
a
get
dog.
you.
Horrible. It's absolutely horrible. But like they refrigerator the wife. Like his whole motivation is that his wife.
I didn't know that. I
His
thought it was
wife
just a
gets
dog.
no, but it, like I mean it's there's more to the story
Sure.
sort of than that. Like it's not just that it's the dog. It's that his wife knew she was dying. And planned for him to get a puppy after her death so he would have something to take care of. So they kill, but it's even worse because I'm like, dude, the wife isn't even alive. She's like,
Yeah.
you don't even like, ugh. And people are like, this is a perfect film. And I'm like, it's really not. I mean, is it good? Sure. Is it fun? Yes. Is it great to watch? Absolutely. Are there any fucking women in it? Not really. I mean, there are some women in there, but they just,
Yeah.
get killed, like it's not.
Yeah.
Anyway, whatever. You were saying something.
Well, I was going to say, like, if you have a woman who gets revenge on a man
Right.
and she has to basically almost always survive a sexual assault
Right.
first.
Yes.
It doesn't matter.
Almost
What?
Almost get sexually assaulted.
Well, that sometimes works. It doesn't matter what's happened. If there is already a
Right.
threats
Yeah.
against her life before
Right.
that,
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's not enough.
Exactly. Right.
And my argument is, you live under patriarchy and capitalism and everything else.
Right.
You're already in.
Well, that's the
violence
thing.
is already being done against you.
A man can be a vigilante. A woman
Yeah.
has to be assaulted.
Yeah,
It
right.
has to be something. It's or
And
her
all I
sister
wanna
is,
say is it's-
or something.
It feels like a holdover from the Hays Code era.
Yeah.
Where if any evil person has to be punished by the end of the movie.
Yeah.
Any deviant.
Right.
Like sometimes they're just gay coded. Right.
Right. Yes. Which is
all.
wild.
That's all.
Which is
That's
wild.
all I wanted to say. Is it feels like a leftover of that kind of morality
Yeah.
play
Yeah.
stuff.
Right. Which is like, yeah. I always want to, like, I want to talk about that. And there's another aspect that I want to talk about, which is like, there's always like, I mean, and maybe it'll be the same thing, or maybe it'll be like two separate things, but I think they connect. But it's always like men's anger is always presented as logic.
Yeah, right.
Like the movie Equilibrium, one of the reasons why it drives me fucking
Never
crazy
seen
is
it,
because
but-
no one has emotions in the movie.
Right.
They're pissed as hell constantly. They're just mad at each other. And also the fighting is ridiculous. They fight with guns. It's not, I don't enjoy the movie. It's not good. I don't like it. I think it's very poorly done. The
believe
gun
you.
fight scenes are so it's
Come
one
out
of those things
before or after The Matrix.
after. It's like not long. It was like The Matrix was 1999, Equilibrium was like 2001.
2000. Yeah.
And they were trying to do like kung fu with guns.
Yeah.
So it's just them like shooting bullets and doing
Gun fu.
like this. Like it's just it's so bad. It's not good. But it's a thing like the movie Rememory. I've talked about this before. And it's not like that it's a phenomenal movie or that it's even that bad. It's just, it's mostly boring. But like, there's a thing where it's like the idea of like, you get to see memories as they happened, but it misses like a key, and it misses a key element, which is like emotions that
Yeah,
are
right.
involved. Like a lot of times, like things that are seen as being unbiased take emotion away from something. But one, that then makes it biased because you're
Correct.
removing the context for it. So that therefore you're changing it, therefore you're creating a bias. And two, it's like someone feeling fear is for a reason, and it might not fit into the context of what you see in front of you.
Correct.
And just having like if someone's standing above you and that's it, you have to decide, and that's all you're seeing. And you're like, I know, like you're reliving a memory and you're just seeing someone above and that's it. And you're like, okay. But in the actual memory, like the person was either thrilled that this person was there, indifferent, or they're afraid. They're afraid of the person. They're afraid because they don't know the person. There's all this context involved. And so much of the time, logic is put on like the need for logic is put on top of like emotions cloud logic. Emotions make but that's not.
Yeah. It's
Emotions
They're
are a
not.
fact. Like emotions are factually occur. So, and it's whatever. Anyway, I can go on about this.
I think
for
this is
fucking
one
ever.
of the, honestly, not even, this probably sounds sarcastic, but I think one of the things that Star Trek inadvertently exposes with the creation of Vulcans
Right.
is because it's never done, or almost never done well.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just, it's the thing you're talking about where
Yeah.
people just seem pissed off.
Yeah.
But it's also like, what is emotion? What is
Yeah,
an
yeah.
emotion?
Right.
And where do you put it?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. And how?
Where does it live?
Right. Right.
And how is it different? How do you it's ridiculous to say it's completely, you can completely detach it from
Right.
any kind of faculty for reasoning.
Right.
They
right.
both come from it's just one thing.
Yeah.
Like don't, I mean, okay, if you want to, it can be a useful exercise.
Correct.
To say like, where's this feeling coming from?
Right, yeah.
Is it about the present?
Right. Yeah.
But that's
But
not the same thing.
It's not the same as removing emotion. Sourcing
Yeah.
an emotion is not
Right.
removing it.
Right.
Figuring out a trigger does not mean not having one.
Right.
Like it, and it's there's just so many ways.
It's
Anyway,
fucking wild that is still around. Like if that wasn't, Ben Shapiro wouldn't have a career.
exactly. Right. With the whole thing
it's-
of like facts don't care about your feelings.
exactly.
Okay, but feelings also don't care about facts, clearly by the fact that you exist, bro.
Exactly.
Like your whole platform is proof that feelings don't care about facts because you spout nonsense that is not factual
Yeah.
and people
Eat it up because
emotionally
it feels good.
yeah, emotionally attach themselves to it. It's so anyway, I could go on about this forever and I will stop myself from doing that. I just want you all to know that I am smart.
I think that's been established. Oh shit!
Oh.
Listen, listen, guys. I think I've seen enough, Catherine. I feel confident now. I don't want to watch. I mean, maybe we'll watch Strange Days again sometime. Maybe not for the pod,
Yeah.
but whatever.
Yeah.
What I want to say is that I think I can now say safely that Catherine Bigelow can make things look good, but I don't like her films.
Yeah.
I mean, I like.
It's fair.
I'll stand by Point Break as a piece of chewing gum or
Yeah.
a piece of dryer lint. No,
Yeah.
no, it's just candy. You know, it's
Oh, yeah. It's a cotton candy.
a bonbon. It's cotton candy, popcorn. It's a little kudos bar. Remember those? Mentos.
I used to fool around, couldn't take punishment, had to settle down. Now I'm playing it real straight, as I cut my hair. You might think I'm crazy, but I don't even care. There's nothing what's going on. It's hip to be square. It's hip to be square.
Did you get your O-gram?